Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you, Ian. We know the support you provide to businesses is really invaluable, and we know your team do everything to streamline the process for businesses. What I would like to do now is to bring our panel into the conversation, and we will start with introductions. Let us start with Abdo. Abdo, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with KTPs?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Abdo. I am, or I was, to be more accurate, a KTP associate. My project was completed last month, so my memory is still fresh about it. The project is a partnership between the University of Aberdeen and Vertebrate Antibody Limited, and it's a life sciences project with a focus on antibody development and cancer biomarkers. Thank you.
Excellent. A warm welcome to you again. We now move on to Karen. Karen, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Karen Bilsland and I'm a lecturer in Management Studies at the University of Aberdeen Business School. So I joined the Business School in 2018 and I previously held a research post at the University of Glasgow. So my areas of research interest and expertise include work organisation, employment relations, organisational change and employee engagement and participation. So I've got quite a diverse research portfolio and I've been involved in several successful research projects working with organisations both here in the UK, also in Canada, in Denmark, Sweden and Portugal. And I also teach here in the business school and I've also taught in our in the Middle East in our campus in Qatar. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Management Institute and I've always had a keen interest in working closely with industry partners to ensure that my research has an impact beyond the academy and can be applied in practice.
Lovely, warm welcome to you, and it's great to have an academic like yourself involved in one of our KTP projects. Now let's introduce one of our key partners who have been working with us on a successful KTPs. Grant, please.
Thank you, Martin. Yes, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. My name is Grant Rogerson. I'm Chief Executive of the A&M Group, which is headquartered at Thainston, or snowy Thainston at the moment in Aberdeenshire. So who are we? For those of you who don't know us, we're one of the largest producer-owned cooperative businesses in Scotland. As I mentioned, they were headquartered just outside Inverurie, but we actually have offices and centres from Shetland down to Glasgow. I think it's fair to say we play a fairly major role in Scotland's economy. Our throughput is in excess of £120 million a year. And we specialise in auction and appraisal and valuation services for livestock, vehicles, plant, machinery and equipment, and specialist items. And in addition to that, we operate, or we don't at the moment, but we operate in the hospitality and leisure sector. That's particularly challenging at the moment. And we have a highly successful rural property division and our own property portfolio and commercial properties. So yes, we had an extremely successful KTP finished in 2019, but we have still been using our learnings from it throughout 2020, and it stood us in very good stead for COVID, and we can come on to that. But I just wanted to say it was an extremely straightforward and beneficial project, and I would encourage others to look into it.
Thank you, Grant. It's really great to hear from a business about the positive effects of KTPs and management KTPs. Our last panel member who hasn't been introduced yet is Adam Smith, aptly named. Over to you. Say a few words about what your role is and your experience and link to KTPs, Adam.
So great to be here with you this morning. Thank you, Martin. I am a senior lecturer in entrepreneurship at the University of Aberdeen and also have a role of entrepreneur in residence. As a professional management consultant and company director myself, my role is to help link the role of the university and the knowledge of the university, and to be able to meet with businesses and to link it into the local economy and the larger national and international economy, to be able to help businesses translate some of the university speak to be able to see the value and impact that universities can have on businesses.
Splendid. Thank you so much, Adam. And let's move right into the proper conversation. Grant, you mentioned your successful KTP, and you already alluded to how working on the KTP has prepared you better to adapt your business in response to the COVID-19 situation. Maybe you want to say a few more words about this.
Yeah, no, happy to do that. So A&M Group, or Aberdeen Northern Marts, was founded in 1872. So I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of traditions within the business. And in particular, we were very, and we remain slightly traditional in terms of how we communicate, but we identified that we needed to change the way that we communicated and improve it. So the project focused on developing, implementing and sustaining a stepped change digital marketing and communication strategy, which was targeted at how we engage with our customers and our members as a cooperative to society, our employees and our partners. And the key in there is the fact that we are a cooperative society. And you know, it's important as how we interact with our members and customers, because we are about service, not self. So it transformed, it's fair to say it transformed the way that we did that. We had been communicating through social media channels and the internet in a manner which we thought was working. It turned out to be very traditional. It was more like just simply dumping a newspaper advert online and expecting people to read it. And I'm taking it back to very basic levels. But through the project, to learn, I implement, for example, Google Analytics and trying different ways of communicating. We learned and understood how the customer interacted with the business online, what their touch points were, what their areas of interest were, and also right up to the detail of what time of day it was good to communicate with them on what topics. You know, so it really gave us a huge insight into that, but it gave us a lot of confidence that we could reach out and communicate in this manner, which allowed us then to work on our strategy as to how we opened up different avenues and routes to market for our customers and members. And by saying that, what I mean is that we've done online sales for over 12 years with varying degrees of success across our business. But one area that was slow to change was the livestock sector. But when COVID hit, we were very, very quick to respond by operating online sales. But the KTP project allowed us to communicate the benefits of that to our customers and to our members, which meant that the adoption rate in April last year was incredible. But by using the analytics and the learnings that we'd taken from the project, we could also understand how we could improve the service of the online sales and give customers what we wanted. And we've had anything up to 1,000 people watching our sales, 300 to 400 people interacting in online livestock sales, and nearly 1,000 people actually taking part in real-time machinery sales, which is incredible. So we didn't have any downtime when COVID hit, which was fantastic. And I think we would have been able to get there in a few years' time, but COVID sped up the change. But we were able to react because of the work that we had done and the confidence that the project gave us and still gives us. And we are still, you know, we're still using a lot of what we've learned from it, and we've embedded it into the business. So we were very happy with how it went.
Well, that's a really amazing success story. I think one element of the success of KTP projects is the KTP Association. I think our listeners and participants might be keen to learn a little bit more how your team has been working with the KTP associates and adapt and implement the changes that resulted from the project.
So maybe
you could say a few more words on that, Grant.
Of course, yes. No, we decided from the get-go to integrate the KTP associate within the business. We've got open plan offices within the centre here, so we felt it important that we had the KTP in amongst the teams that they would be closest working with and very close to management and directly feeding into senior management meetings and executive team meetings. It demonstrated the support that we had in the project to the rest of the staff. But I think the biggest breakthrough was just in terms of the facts that it delivered. You know, so when they're doing the research, when we're getting early research data back, it was delivering to the team information that they didn't expect. They were really surprised that the click-through rate was so high because what we were posting at the time wasn't capturing people's attention. They were also really surprised at how you have to catch people. I think 6 seconds is about as much as you have to catch somebody's attention, especially on social media. So we found that the use of video was very effective. But simply put, as we changed and developed the offering, it became successful. So that success brought support. And we tried things that we knew wouldn't work, you know, because we wanted to see and emphasize the areas that did work to get the team to buy into it. But it wasn't actually as tricky as we thought, because there was so much support with the KTP, the associate, and the university coming in, and they understand, you know, they came in and they understood the business, they understood the project, and they certainly understood what we were trying to achieve. So everybody could see that there was a team working to build success, and that was important. It wasn't just an individual on their own working in a corner. That simply wouldn't work. So yeah, that's how we got success from it, Martin.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much, Grant. Maybe this is now the opportunity to move to Abdo, who has been a KTP associate on another project. Abdo, can you tell us a little bit more? Why did you choose actually to do a KTP project, and what you felt was the highlight of it? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. I think probably the main reason was the nice combination KTP offered me personally. So it allowed me to continue my academic and research, you know, life in certain aspects, but at the same time, give me the exposure to the industry and the commercial life. So it's the best of both worlds. So, and also important factor was that I could now see the impact or measure the impact of my knowledge in terms of commercial products, or see the impact financially on the business, and that give you extra motivation and actually make you more efficient the way you think. Because prior to that, I was just mainly driven by, you know, publications and you know, writing projects for the universities. And the final, probably really important reason for associate is the personal development budget, which is really unique to KTP in terms of, you know, it's protected, it's considerable size, and it's the associate's discretion how he spends it, of course, after discussion with the team, and if it helps the team as well. And in terms of highlight, well, academically is publications, of course, but the best highlight probably is the development of AI web application, which was not expected to come out of the project, but in collaboration with other company, we managed to get a really novel software, and it's commercially launched early 2020. And the software has been already used in 7 grants with the University of Aberdeen, University of Dundee, and also been used to set up new business, which I will be having a small role in it as well. So that's it.
Well, That's not just it. That's actually quite a lot, isn't it? You mentioned the skills development budget that's quite unique to the KTPs, but when I listen to you, I get sort of the sense there is so much more KTP associates get out of this in terms of their own skills development than just spending a little money. So maybe you could say a few words on that and how that has helped the business as well.
Yeah, so my expertise prior to the project was life sciences, technologies, and as I said, academic. But I felt throughout the project that I needed some extra skills, especially for this particular product, which is the web application. So I actually enrolled in a few courses for Python and key programming language, Unix, and I did a bit of statistic on R and other JavaScripts as well. And all these combinations with my life sciences background, I was able to really build a nice algorithm for the software and get the basic ready for then the software engineers to come and make it into full web application. And that's now is really one of the main, how would you say, the main contributor to the company's revenue in terms of, as I said, grants and new collaboration. And now the company have their own division, which is really specialized in AI technologies and AI solutions. And another probably important part of the KTP is commercial and business awareness for associates. So we actually have 2 KTP modules, which is free, offered by the Innovate UK, but also, you know, I was able also to enroll in few business courses and business workshops to help me better understand how to benefit the business, not just academically in terms of research, but also in terms of commercializing their product.
That's really helpful and insightful. We mentioned earlier, Grant mentioned earlier, how the KTP has helped their business to prepare for COVID without realizing this initially, without planning for it. But you just completed a KTP, I understand. How has COVID impacted your project? Maybe you can say a few words on that.
Well, in the beginning, of course, was really bad because we didn't have any lab access. It was sudden, and our work involved a lot of wet lab experiments. So for 2-3 months, we struggled a bit. But then, after discussion with the team, we actually thought, yeah, we have really products and expertise that we could utilize somehow in COVID project, which was now the center of funding bodies and the university. We applied for, in collaboration with the researcher with the University of Aberdeen, applied for a new grant on diagnostic assays and using the AI application and understanding how the virus or best pieces of virus to use for assay development. And the project was was concluded last month. And now, as a result, the company is involved in follow-up grants and commercially in talk with company to manufacture the product. So to sum up is there's still some negative impact, of course, socially, and we have limited access to lab, but we actually turned out stronger on the other side.
That is as positive as a result in the current situation as one can really hope for. Thank you so much, Abdo, for sharing your insights.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed listening to this, and I'm sure people in the audience shared this. Maybe it's an opportunity now to move back to our colleagues from the KTP team, to Laura and also Ian. A question we often receive, not just from the audience today, but also from businesses potentially interested in this, and in the light of how much has changed over the current year, the businesses will wonder when you engage in KTPs, is there a chance for the project to change focus at a certain point or at any point in time, which I think is a rather pertinent question in light of the environmental changes we've gone through over the last few months. Maybe Ian or Laura, you would want to answer that.
Shall I go first, Laura, on that one? Innovation projects, by their nature, don't survive contact with the real world. So it doesn't matter whether it's a pandemic or anything. When an innovation project kicks off, it is by nature exploratory, and we've always recognized that in our funding. So unlike some grant scenarios where you've got to do what you say you would do, we want you to stay true to the ambition rather than the intent of the work plan. So although you will need to prepare a detailed work plan to secure the funding, if a project is live, Martin, and the strategic necessity of either the external environment or the business environment needs it to change, then we can change it. And the gift is within the partnership. So the only thing a team has to do is convince their monitoring officer, which is in this case me, that this is a strategic necessity, evidence-based, and we can change it. And that's it. We don't have to reapply for the funding. We can adapt. So they are very, very adaptable. And I think that's one of the benefits of them. So finance directors in companies who I've worked with many times get very nervous about risk. And the nice thing is that this de-risks the project because you know that you can adapt it. Laura, is there anything you want to add?
I think you've really covered everything there. The only thing that I would say that the KTP Centre itself could help to do if the changes to the project fell outside of the original expertise of the academic team is that we would work with the partnership to try and bring in another academic to that partnership who could provide any additional skills and support. But that would still fall within the budget that's allocated for the academic team.
That's really helpful. Thank you both. And to some extent, I think you answered the next question we picked up already. Sometimes businesses know they would benefit from an innovation and change project, but they are not quite clear where exactly the project should focus on. Would the KT, the knowledge transfer advisor, be able to help them in that respect? So yeah, it's again a question. Go ahead, please.
It's a great question, Martin. Part of the process is our involvement as advisors in the design of the application. We get involved very early with Laura and the team in the business development cycle to kind of help a business tease out the value in the project. And I think actually sometimes we tend to think that as a bit of an onerous process to build an application. Actually, it's what you would sometimes be paying a consultant to do to help you work out whether you've got a really good idea. In this case, you're getting that as a service as part of building the application. So yeah, and the danger is that we can often get overly excited about projects and suggest things. So we do require the business to ground us back into the realities of their core business. But yeah, you get a lot of external eyes coming on your project and we'll help share. What we'll often do is drive the ambition. You know, one of the things Innovate UK wants to see UK businesses being more ambitious. And the nice thing about KTP projects is we will encourage you to set a strategically ambitious vision. But the other thing is we won't necessarily hold you to that being delivered. You know, we recognize it's ambitious, so we don't want to frighten you away by saying you've got to achieve that. So what you put in is an aspiration. And as we know, what happens will be very different. Abdo has given a clear indication of how their project has led to different business opportunities. So yeah, we'll help shape, we'll help support, and we'll help challenge you to be as ambitious as you can, but as realistic as you can.
I think that's really helpful. Maybe we can say a little bit more about KTPs and management KTPs, and what's so exciting about management KTPs, Ian, Laura?
Laura, do you want me to take that? I know, or do you? Yeah, okay. I think what's exciting about management KTP and why it's a subtly different flavor after 45 years of successful technology projects is we can now put people at the heart rather than technology. And we all know, you know, coming from a business school background, guys, you know, and coming from a business background, you can't just throw a technology at a market or an organization and hope it's going to make a difference. What you've got to do is pay careful, supportive attention to the people in the business. And I think what management KTPs do is recognize that. So whilst you can still have a technology element to a management KTP project, the focus has got to be on supporting the people within the organization to embrace, co-create, and deliver that innovation. So it's a people development project at its heart, and that's really the key difference. And I think that's what makes it exciting. I think it's particularly exciting for companies because it's going to give them a chance to work with leading business schools like your own, Martin. And that's great because there's some great there's great thinking and great research going on in a lot of our business schools that sometimes, unless you're a really lucky business, you can't access because you don't either know how to or you don't have the funds and the capability to. So it's going to open up the research capabilities from business schools to offer to everything from micro businesses to larger enterprises. So I think that's why management KTPs are exciting.
Fantastic. We heard earlier that the KTP associate is a key element in the success of any KTP. So maybe we could say a few words about how KTP associates are recruitment and what recruited and what the recruitment process actually looks like, to give us a sense how the steps proceed.
Yeah, I'll take
Laura,
this one.
please.
Yeah, so because the KTP Centre gets really involved in the application process and we build a good relationship with partners, we will support that recruitment process. Whilst the associate is technically an employee of the knowledge-based partner, so in this case, the university, the recruitment selection process is very much a joined approach, because the associate will end up with two direct line managers. They will have a supervisor from the university and a supervisor from the company, and it's really important that we help to drive that recruitment process with the needs of both partners in mind, because if we do that, then they're going to attract and recruit the best person to sit in that sort of hybrid role between the two organisations and really drive the innovation and the change within the company. If they've got a good insight into how the academic process works, or they have a good insight into how a commercial process works, then that really will help them to integrate well into the partnership. And our role is always to make sure that the needs of the associate are you know, forefront in the recruitment documentation, because quite often you will find that the company's idea of the person that they want and the academic team's idea of the person they want is not necessarily a perfect match. But if you can bring the right person in to bridge that gap, then the project will be really, really successful. And I found that the partnerships that work the best together during the recruitment process will find the associate that's the best fit for their project. And I encourage them to work together on that as much as possible.
If you could say again, what in your opinion is yielding the best results
in terms of recruitment? Yeah, it's definitely taking that collaborative approach to all of the aspects of the application writing, the recruitment, and then the managing of the project, because I think without a really good working partnership, you know, there is a reluctance to try and overcome difficulties. I think the partners that are very secure in their professional relationships are the ones that are the most successful. They're the ones that recruit the best associates. They're the ones that communicate really well during the project. And I wouldn't go as far to say that those projects run themselves, but I think they're able to overcome any challenges that present themselves during the life of the project if they've got that really good established relationship in the first place. And part of the business development role that I play and the interactions that I have with Ian and his colleagues in the rest of the rest of the advisors is to make sure that that partnership is very cohesive. And in fact, 1/4 of the marks in the application are given for showing that cohesiveness of the partnership. You don't want to just look like you've parachuted in skills for the sake of having them there, that there actually is a strong relationship, and it is all about that collaborative approach to deliver the results for the company.
That's been really helpful. Thank you so much, Laura. It's now time to move on to the academic colleagues on the panel. And let us start with Karen, who started work on a KTP quite recently. And Karen, I believe your project is a collaborative effort, just as Laura said, on this occasion between the business school and the School of Engineering working with the company. How did you decide to support this particular KTP actually? And can you explain a little bit of how the schools work together, bringing possibly management and technology aspects of innovation into the game?
Thank you, Martin. Click the right button this time. So the KTP, yes, I'm involved in, is a cross-disciplinary project between the business school and the School of Engineering. So it just started in September last year following our award in May from Innovate UK and the Scottish Funding Council. So the company that we're working with is Motive Offshore Group. So they're headquartered at Boyndy near Banff. And Motive is one of the market leaders for the supply of complex back deck equipment and services for the marine energy industry, and strives to be the technology leader in their field. So I work closely with the principal investigator in the School of Engineering, and I serve as the co-investigator on the project to oversee the change management process within the company. I'm also responsible for supervising the KTP associates in an advisory capacity to facilitate the transformation activities across the organisation. So, as Martin said, collaboration and cross-disciplinarity are integral to the success of our KTP project. So the project itself has benefits for the business, but also for us too as academics and our future research trajectories and publications. So ensuring effective communication with employees at all levels of an organisation is a critical yet often neglected aspect of change management. So it's really about recognising the importance of employee involvement in this process at all levels of the company. So from the outset of our KTP project, it was clear that the human change management elements needed to be developed in parallel with the engineering solutions for the digitisation of motive equipment and processes. And one of the major challenges in introducing the technological, the transformational technologies will be adapting the working practices of the motive workforce. And this is something that we are committed to as a KTP team in order to deliver a competitive advantage for the company and to effect long-lasting and meaningful change as well within the company and the wider oil and gas sector. So in terms of how we've come together to work on the project, then it's a traditional technology-driven project. I was responsible for progressing the change management and business side of the application, and was involved in drafting the initial application, working alongside the PI in engineering and the company chairman and director of Motive to help them write the proposal and define the scope of the project. Since the KTP associate has come on board, I've supported him in familiarising himself with the business so that he can establish positive and constructive working relationships with the company team members, and so that he's also equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to take key decisions to improve the company's performance and develop a proactive approach to navigating the organisational change and knowledge embedding activities. So it's important to make all stakeholders aware of both the intentions and benefits of technological innovation at the outset and explain how it will affect their daily work and service delivery. So yeah, we've had a very productive and successful first couple of months, and while the technical aspects of the project are ongoing, now we're at the point where we're starting to develop the cultural change programme to support the adoption of new innovations, including an effective communication strategy to engage employees at all levels of the organisation.
Karen, that was really insightful. Thank you so much. We got another question from the audience, and perhaps that is best answered by Ian on this particular occasion, speaking about KTP awards for the public sector. So an audience member recalled one of their own KTP awards with Grampian NHS a few years back, supported by a total of £120,000, and the KTP outcomes were very successful, so successful that they were included in a REF impact case study and rated second nationally. So what is the role or the opportunity for public sector KTPs?
Unfortunately, at the moment, that's one sector that we can't support through the way the government funding is organised directly. So unfortunately, it's probably the only sector that's out of scope. They're publicly funded organisations, charities, not-for-profit companies, normal businesses, etc. Social enterprises we can support, but public sector we can't. And I would agree with the speaker, you know, hopefully in the future that might change. Because I've been involved in a number of those in the past as well, and they can be as beneficial. But at the moment, we just can't use the funding for that. However, what I would say to anyone who's in that position thinking that's a shame is there's no reason why the public sector organisation couldn't partner with a business or a charity. And although they can't directly receive the benefits of the funding, they could be part of the project team, and they could be contributing knowledge in the case study and so benefit indirectly. And we have a couple of those kind of projects evolving over in our thinking at the moment. So whilst we can't do direct funding, there's no reason why they can't be a partner in an indirect capacity and benefit from the outcomes. And great to hear it was a successful project.
Thank you so much, Ian. You presented a solution for everything, and I would have loved to invite Adam with maybe, we still have a tiny moment of time, a 10-second pitch in terms of advice for businesses looking to do a KTP. Adam, briefly over to you before we must wrap up.
I think it's just having the confidence that there is a track record of 45 years of success in implementing innovation. And the reason why it's lasted for 45 years, because it works. So there's a great time to be able to do this, knowing that there's just a proven path to implementing innovation.
Wonderful, Adam. This is it now. Thank you so much. We must wrap up this, unfortunately. We are all out of time. Let me use this opportunity once more to thank everybody for joining us today to hear a little bit more about KTPs. If you think this would be of interest to your company and would like to discuss further, please do get in touch. Special thank you to all our panelists. You really made a difference. Thank you, and tune in next time. Bye-bye for now.